Hello, everybody. My name is Bill Peroni. Just a quick background on me, real quick, before I, get talked about my paper. I'm 25 years old. I'm currently a police officer. Um, I'm on a plainclothes surveillance unit, which kind of ties around what I'm going to talk about later. I'm also on the SWAT team, which also will tie into what I'm talking about later. Um, so yeah, let's get into it. My presentation um, or my paper rather, was done on Al Qaeda. Now I know everyone in the modern world knows which terrorist organization this is, but just taking a step back, to where Al Qaeda really opened up and kind of became what it is and what it's known for now. Obviously dates back to September 11th, 2001, where 19 hijackers boarded four separate American Airlines, or I'm sorry, United flights, and committed one of the most heinous acts since World War II, since Pearl Harbor. So you're talking almost 60 years, where just under 3,000 Americans died on 9/11. Obviously, we all know during that time, two of those hijacked planes hit the Twin Towers in New York. One hit the Pentagon, and one crashed, thankfully and not thankfully, in Pennsylvania due to some heroic passengers who decided to take the plane over. But after this terrorist attack, the Department of Homeland Security and these others, agencies within the government kind of had to take a step back and almost start from scratch going forward and looking at, terrorism as obviously a credible and real threat to our country. The budget in 2001 prior to 9/11 for Department of Homeland Security was $16 billion, which seems like a lot. But the following year in 2002, following the attacks in 9/11, it jumped up to $42 billion. So it almost tripled, and rightfully so, because, prior to 9/11, prior to these attacks, all you had was essentially bare minimum security at airports. Our borders weren't necessarily secure. Airports, international airports, were not secure whatsoever. I remember before 9/11, you could go to the airport and greet somebody at their gate without even getting checked out. You could carry small knives. You could carry lighters on planes. Now, obviously, extremely different due to these attacks. Everyone's been to the airport, full body scans, pat downs, bag checks, taking off your shoes, your belts, pretty much everything. So things have drastically changed. But talking more about national security and beefing up our infrastructure, beefing up our intel units and things like that, it was a big change for a lot of people. And I know a lot of Americans. As many people know, after about 10 years of being at war with Al Qaeda, Osama bin Laden was finally killed in 2011 by a mission conducted by Navy SEALs, which obviously was a good thing. Big blow to Al Qaeda, but also after 10 years of being in full force and raging in the Middle East, it's a kill to the leader is a blow, but Al Qaeda is still up and running, and some possibly say stronger than ever. Just going back to how this affects, preparation for people here in the United States, specifically for people like me, Secret Service, things like that, people that, protect this nation. Just from personal experience, I know training compared to, the early 2000s has drastically changed now. Our officers, and we train with federal agencies as well, Secret Service, FBI, ICE, things like that. We train with those guys, and we all train the same way. If there's a mass casualty incident, we all want to be on the same page and be able to work together. When in years prior, that was not a thing. No one ever trained for, mass shooters too much, chemical weapons, warfare, and things like that. So it was important for all of different agencies to get on the same page, and kind of link up in case things like this did happen. Our SWAT team has been to multiple trainings hosted by the federal government. And the trainings go over things they've done right, things they haven't done right, what works for them, what does not work for them. And it gives departments around the area a certain satisfaction that, we're all going to be on the same page. And if something does go horribly wrong, hopefully it does not, we'll all be ready. I mentioned in my paper, you're trained during an active shooter to push past people that are asking for your help. You want to neutralize the threat as soon as you possibly can. And that way you can render aid to other people. Hospitals, prior to 9/11, there wasn't these mass casualty incidents. Now, unfortunately, there is active shooters quite often in the United States, and some of them are tied to terrorist organizations. Hospitals have the exact same protocols that we do. They train with the fire department, they train with the police department. They set up things called triage areas, where they can triage patients from the most critical down to not so serious. So just tying this all together, big changes have come since 9/11, and big changes are still going to come. You're constantly learning, the enemy is constantly adapting to what you do. There's a reason why people have been in wars for thousands of years. Nothing changes. Both sides think they're right, and both sides are going to continue to do what they're going to do. So we will continue to adapt and overcome and hopefully win against the enemy.